This is a shadow work reading. I'm using my biblical tarot to help you illuminate the path within. The first card that I pulled is the Ten of Candles, and in tarot, this is the Ten of Wands. This card features Jeremiah's burden. Why did I ever come out of the womb to see trouble and sorrow and to end my days in shame? Jeremiah 20:18. Jeremiah, often called the weeping prophet, was tasked by God to prophesy the destruction of Judah and Jerusalem due to their unfaithfulness. His messages were met with hostility, rejection, and persecution, making his prophetic mission a heavy burden. Despite the emotional and physical toll, Jeremiah remained committed to his divine calling, enduring great personal suffering to fulfill God's command. His life reflects the struggles of bearing a heavy load for the sake of a higher purpose. This card tells me that carrying a significant responsibility, you feel the weight of truth and purpose pressing heavily upon you. This card reflects the importance of persistence and dedication, even when the path feels overwhelming. It reminds you to trust that your efforts are meaningful and will lead to spiritual fulfillment. You're carrying the weight of truth and accountability with responsibility. You're committing to the spiritual work of transformation with dedication. You're continuing forward despite the heaviness of the path with persistence. You're understanding the reasons behind burdens and challenges with clarity. And you're finding meaning and growth in the struggle, which is your redemption. The next card that I pulled for this reading is the Star, and it features the Star of Bethlehem. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. The Star of Bethlehem is a celestial phenomenon mentioned in the Gospel of Matthew, associated with the birth of Jesus Christ. It is described as leading the Magi, who are the wise men from the east, to Jerusalem to celebrate the birth of the King of the Jews. The star symbolizes divine intervention in the world and the manifestation of prophecy, guiding those who seek enlightenment and truth. The star symbolizes hope, faith, and divine guidance. In shadow work, this card represents a moment of spiritual clarity and renewal after a period of darkness. It reflects the light at the end of the tunnel, offering reassurance that the hard work of confronting your shadow will lead to healing and blessings. It encourages you to trust in the process and follow your inner light toward wholeness. With hope, you are maintaining optimism through the healing journey. You have guidance. You're receiving spiritual insights that lead to clarity. There's renewal here. You're experiencing rejuvenation after facing your shadows. You're finding clarity, gaining a clear understanding of your emotional landscape. And you have faith. You're trusting in the divine support during your transformation. Next, I've pulled the Five of Candles, which is the Five of Wands in tarot. And this card features Joseph and his jealous brothers. Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed. Genesis 37:27. Joseph, the favored son of Jacob, is envied by his brothers because of the special treatment that he receives from their father, and because of Joseph's dreams that predict his rise to prominence over them. Their jealousy leads them to sell Joseph into slavery. However, this act of betrayal begins Joseph's journey from slave to high-ranking official in Egypt, where he eventually reconciles with his family during a famine. The story encapsulates the complexity of familial relationships, personal growth through adversity, and the ultimate reconciliation and understanding. This card symbolizes that conflict and envy have arose, reflecting tensions in relationships or inner struggles. This card highlights the need to confront jealousy, resentment, or misunderstanding with patience and wisdom. It points to opportunities for growth through forgiveness and reconciliation, ultimately transforming discord into deeper connection and personal strength. Here we see conflict, which is unresolved emotions that have surfaced, demanding attention. We find envy, recognizing jealousy and its shadow in personal dynamics. There's growth here, overcoming interpersonal struggles to strengthen inner resolve. You have patience, you're allowing time for healing and forgiveness. And with that healing, we are transforming discord into opportunities for reconciliation. Next, I've pulled the Ace of Chalices, which is the Ace of Cups in Tarot, and it features the Samaritan woman at the well. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. John 4:14. Jesus, traveling through Samaria, stops at Jacob's well, where he encounters a Samaritan woman. In the course of their conversation, Jesus reveals knowledge, which astonishes her, and speaks of offering living water that would forever quench her thirst. This encounter transforms the woman, who goes on to share her experience with others in her community, leading many to believe in Jesus. The story is a powerful depiction of Jesus' compassion, the breaking of social barriers, and the offer of spiritual awakening and redemption. This card represents an outpouring of spiritual and emotional renewal. Like the Samaritan woman at the well, you are offered divine grace and a chance for deep healing. It signifies new beginnings in love, emotional growth, and spiritual awakening, inviting you to open your heart to divine connection and fulfillment. Here we find renewal, a fresh emotional or spiritual awakening that's offering you healing and growth. And with love, you open yourself to receiving and sharing unconditionally. Using your intuition, deep emotional truths flow into your awareness. We have abundance, embrace the fullness of life, as divine grace overflows. And healing. Old wounds begin to mend, creating space for wholeness. Next, I've pulled the Nine of Chalices, which is the Nine of Cups, and it features the Feast of Purim. As the time when the Jews got relief from their enemies, and as the month when their sorrow was turned into joy and their mourning into a day of celebration. Esther 9:22. The story centers around Esther, a Jewish queen of Persia, and her cousin Mordecai, who uncover a plot by Haman, the king's advisor, to annihilate the Jewish people. Through courage, strategic planning, and Esther's intervention with the king, Haman's plans were thwarted. Haman is executed, and the king grants the Jews the right to defend themselves against their enemies. The victory is so complete that it initiates the annual celebration of Purim, marked by feasting, joy, and the exchange of gifts as a memorial to their deliverance. This card signifies emotional and material satisfaction, reflecting the joy and gratitude of the Feast of Purim. It encourages you to celebrate your achievements, acknowledge your blessings, and embrace the abundance that comes from aligning with your higher purpose. Here we find fulfillment. Emotional and material satisfaction brings a sense of completion. Joy. Celebrate your achievements and the blessings in your life. Gratitude. Appreciate the abundance that surrounds you. Contentment. Peace comes from aligning with your inner values. And abundance. Revel in the emotional and spiritual richness that you've cultivated. And the last card that I pulled for this reading is the Wheel of Life, which is the Wheel of Fortune in tarot. And it features the cycles of life. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1. This card doesn't focus on a single character, but rather on the universal experience shared by all of humanity as depicted in the Bible. It acknowledges the season of life, the rise and the fall of nations, and the personal journeys of faith, hardship, and redemption. It depicts the cyclical nature of human experiences, the inevitability of change, and the guiding hand of destiny or divine will. This theme reflects the ongoing dance of creation and renewal echoed throughout the Bible. The Wheel of Life symbolizes the cycles of transformation inherent in shadow work. It reminds you that change is constant and that confronting your shadow is part of life's natural ebb and flow. It brings hope and divine guidance, showing that each phase has a purpose. We find change embracing the natural cycles of transformation and shadow work. Interconnectedness is here, understanding how events and emotions are linked. We've found hope, maintaining optimism through periods of change. We have guidance, trusting in divine providence during your healing journey. And fate, acknowledging the role of destiny in your personal growth. This is Shining Light Creations. Follow me for more in-depth tarot insight.